Hello, hello, hello. It is good to be back. It is good to be back. It's so good to push that go live button again. And I just realized I forgot to put on music. Welcome back to Scuff. Well, okay, well, let's switch over then. We'll do that. And then we'll do that. Hello! How are you doing, Hyacinth? Feels good to see all this again. How are you doing? Let's see. Where to begin? News about... other than that pretty decent. I can't say I've heard much, but I'm sorry to hear that. Glad to hear that you're doing okay otherwise, though. Alrighty then. Suppose we can just start, I guess. I don't really know where to start this story, I guess you can call it story. I don't really know. I guess to keep it simple, I went abroad. Wow. I went overseas for the first time. That was pretty cool. A very, very long plane flight, but it was very, very cool, and I'm very happy that I got to do it. Can't say too much about my reason for going over there. I can't say too much about my reason for going over there because of, one, privacy reasons and out of respect for the people who went with me, but also because I literally legally signed a contract that said I would not give specific details about what I was doing. But what I am allowed to say is I did go over there because I was given the opportunity to do an internship. I was given the opportunity to be an intern for a month at a company in South Korea. So that's where I was for the last month. I was working in South Korea. And that was really, really cool. To keep it simple, it was a ton of fun, and I met some really cool people. I got to experience a lot of really cool stuff, and I got to work on a really cool project, which unfortunately I can't share the details of because I'm pretty sure that would break whatever contract I signed. Yeah, I got to further my career and my interested fields and stuff like that, and really got to put my skills to use. It was a ton of fun. But no one wants to hear about me sitting there on a computer and working on stuff. So, we need to talk about other things. Time to go through the photo album, which I won't be showing because I don't want to dox myself or other people, but I can talk about it at least. So, let's start with time zones, shall we? Time zones are whack. So, when I flew over, I lost a whole day. I literally skipped a whole day. So that was really weird. Yesterday, when I showed up, yesterday was the 30th? Pretty much, and then today, the day I showed up was the 2nd. I basically skipped the 1st of June. It was weird. And of course, biological clock, having to flip day and night cycles. And it's not even like a complete 12-hour flip. It's I'm not gonna say the exact amount, but it was off of 12 hours. It wasn't exactly 12 hours. It was a couple hours off. But that was weird. Though it was weird to change my sleeping schedule because I was able to always go to sleep at a decent time when I was there, but I don't think I fully changed my waking up schedule. Like I always woke up what was like 5 or 6 o'clock there. Like 6 o'clock felt like it was sleeping in, but it wasn't. So I never really needed an alarm, which was interesting. But the reason why I didn't stream there was one, because yes, I was working and I didn't want to do something that would interrupt that or whatever. But also, I was in a hotel for a month. This itty bitty, teeny tiny hotel with a bed that didn't even fit my physical form. ATK. How you doing? Yeah, it's good to be back. But yeah, so I slept in a hotel that it was a group of us who were all interning. We each had our own room. But what's funny is that each of these rooms had either a single bed big enough for 2 people, or 2 single beds big enough for a human that is not my size. And I had the 2 single beds. And at first, people were like, oh, we'll just push them together. And I'm like, that's the problem. There's a barrier between the 2 beds, a physical barrier that prevents me from shoving these 2 beds together. So I had to sit on this tiny little bed that like had my feet hanging off the edge. But it was fine. It was a comfortable bed. Like, aside from that, it was a comfortable bed. It was a comfortable hotel room. The shower was quite large. It was a nice shower. Like, it had everything I needed. It had a laundromat and all that, so it was all good. But I found that very funny. But, yeah. And outlets are different. That was fun to see. I finally got to see a different outlet than the American ones. Got to see, I think it was a Type C outlet, where it's literally just 2 circular prongs, and that's it. That was interesting to see. Especially because the adapter I had, one of them was just the 2 prongs. It wasn't like a full thing that you plug into, and then you plug that into the socket. It was literally just the 2 prongs that you slid on over the prongs of your American plug. So it stuck out from the wall like an extra 1.5 inches. Or like 5 centimeters, I guess, whatever you want to call it. Systems are weird. That was another thing that I had to get used to, was the metric system. But it was a lot easier to understand most of it. You know, when people were talking about kilometers, meters, grams, kilograms, stuff like that, it was fairly easy to understand because I knew roughly what those were in terms of good old imperial units. I think that's what our system is called, right? Feet, miles, those are imperial units, right? I think so. I think that's what they're called. Yeah, I was able to understand that fairly well because my brain, I was just able to do that. But one thing that I don't think I ever got used to was Celsius and Fahrenheit. I always had to like quickly run through the calculation in my head to convert Celsius over to Fahrenheit whenever I checked my phone in the morning. I was like, 30 degrees, that's gonna be multiply by, and then okay, that's about, like, I always had to do that conversion. And of course, where I currently am, it is quite dry. So when your phone says it's 75 degrees outside, it feels like 75 degrees outside. But then in South Korea, it's 60+% humidity, And so when it says it's 75 degrees Fahrenheit, there's a little bar below it that says feels like 90 degrees or something like that. So most of my days were spent with t-shirts as opposed to a long sleeve shirt, even though it technically in Fahrenheit was only like mid 70s to low 80s. So that was fun getting used to. But let's see. Start off with some of the first nights. So we had first nights, which are just basically getting settled in. Our first stuff was a weekend. We had Saturday and Sunday, of course, to do whatever we wanted, and Friday was just kind of a free day as well, I guess. That was more or less not technically a move-in day because we weren't moving in; it was a hotel, but kind of just a getting settled in, making sure that you checked into the hotel and stuff like that. But then the weekend was fun. Did a little bit of exploring in the area. Did my best to learn how to say hello and thank you. And at this point, for the most part, that's about all I can say. I can read. I can now read Hangul. I can now read Korean. I can read it. But translating it and speaking it is rough. That's about it. If someone handed me a menu at a restaurant, it still took me a whole 10 seconds to get through the first word or whatever. Fluent is not what I call myself in the slightest. I can read. I can say hello, I can say goodbye, or not goodbye. Well, I guess technically I can say goodbye. I can say hello, I can say thank you, and I can say I want this, please. I can also say a lot of foods, I guess, because a lot of foods were cognates. For example, juice. Juice was a cognate. If you wanted orange juice, you said you wanted orange juice, and it's good to go. Which was nice. A lot of coffee was cognates as well, so whenever you wanted a latte or something like that, Americano. Americanos were very popular there. Everybody wanted an Americano. That was all cognates. So some of the stuff, I was like, yeah, I got this down. Because it's basically English, so I'm cheating. Yeah, it's actually a very, very interesting language. I was really nervous at first, because when you first look at it, not knowing anything about the language, it's terrifying. It's super complicated characters and stuff like that. Or at least that's how it looks on the surface. But then you go through and you learn their alphabet, and it's interesting because when you look at characters and stuff like that, each individual character is actually just 2 to 4 letters. It's really weird. And then you read each letter, or each letter within the character, and then you combine all the characters together to make a word. Like, it starts off small, and then you just kind of slowly piece them together until it becomes a full word in a full sentence, and so on. And it's really cool. I also learned that, yet again, I keep on reinforcing this in my mind, some of the language learning apps don't work well for me. They really don't. I had one infamous app that I was using to practice the alphabet, and then eventually, once I felt that I got the alphabet down pretty well, I started going into the other stuff, actual words, and it didn't teach me any grammar. It was just random vocab. I know, like ant, like the insect. I know that's gamey. I know that's how that's pronounced. I know milk is uyu. I don't know how to use any of those in a sentence, though. It just kind of said things. Okay, great. Yeah, so learning the languages was interesting. I think what was really cool was you could walk through the city and stuff like that, and most of the signs were in Hangul, Korean. But in signs where they had a second language, it's usually English, which was really nice. Whereas in the States, or at least the 48, what's it? Not continuous. It's not connected either, but it's some like combination of those two words. I can't think of the word off the top of my head. But all those, usually when you see a second language on a sign or something like that, it's usually Spanish or something like that, because that's just the second most common, like one of the most common languages here. But for there, it was English. But then you go contiguous. Yes, that's what it is. Thank you. There's a reason I am not an English major. Thank you. The continuous United States, yes. Yeah. And because of that, stuff like keyboards, for example, had both Hangul and English on them. Whereas here, since English and Spanish share the same alphabet, with like just a couple exceptions, we only have like one keyboard. You know, the A, B, C, D, E, F, G, that's in both languages, even if they're pronounced slightly differently, but the characters are still the same. So I found that really interesting. But I think what was really cool was walking into the subway. I took the subway every day to go to work, to explore, things like that. But walking onto the subway, all the signs were in Korean, English, Chinese, and Japanese. It was all four, all of them together. So it was really cool to see all the languages right next to each other. I don't know exactly how cool that is to other people or how cool it is when I'm just describing it. But you would see... I don't know, what's the name of an area we visited? Oh, well, like, we'll talk about the airport. The airport, like, Incheon. You hop onto the train and you see the station name, and it's Incheon Airport. And you can see that in Hangul, and then you can see it in English, Incheon Airport. And then you'd see it in Japanese, which was interesting because it was in katakana, which means that the direct pronunciation of the Japanese was Incheon. And then, I can't read Chinese, unfortunately, but that was right next to it as well, which still was really cool to see. And I will say there was a couple of words that I was able to pronounce and pick up on very early on, simply because I saw stuff like Japanese next to it or English next to it. And it's something that, you know, you really take for granted when you spend most, if not all, of your life in just the same country where everybody speaks the same language for the most part. Or at the very least uses the same alphabet. So it's... I don't know, I found that really, really cool, and it was thought-provoking, you know, during the first couple days. Let's see, anything else happened during the first few days? Most of my stuff during the first few days is simple reminders of here's how you say hello, here's how you say thank you. Oh, this was interesting. So, I'm gonna say it slow, and it's probably gonna be butchered. But hello was 안녕하세요. 안녕하세요. That's hello. And then there's two different versions of goodbye. One is for when you're the one who's leaving. I'm just horribly butchered it. I am so sorry to anybody who could speak Korean. I'm so sorry. It's 안녕히가세요 is when you're leaving, and then 안녕히계세요 is for when you're saying goodbye to the person who is leaving, but you're the one who's staying. But so 안녕하세요 is hello. 안녕히가세요 is goodbye, I am leaving. 안녕히계세요 is goodbye, you are leaving. But whenever you were speaking to people, the last little bit was just kind of slurred. So it was always just "안녕하세요." "안녕하세요." In the end, for the most part, it always just sounded like people were saying hello, "안녕하세요." Because that's how everyone would pronounce it. Not exactly like that, of course. I'm a native English speaker, so of course I'm going to butcher it. But that general sound was used for hello, goodbye, both sides of goodbye. I don't know, it was interesting. I don't know, I found that really interesting, that since hello and goodbye are so similar, that no one really fully pronounced the two words. They just kind of got the start and the end, and then the middle was just kind of... it wasn't like slurred or mumbled or whatever, but it was said so quickly that you couldn't tell exactly if it was ha, ga, or ge. So it was just hello and goodbye, whatever context it needed to be in, which I think, I don't know, it's really cool, because slang in English is slang in English, and then I don't know if that would that be slang. I don't know if that would be slang, but it was just something that isn't written anywhere, as it's not a written sort of word. It's just how it's said, which I think is cool. And then there's yes, which I don't think I ever got used to. Yes is ne. Like how you would write it in English is N-E-H, ne. Which in English, of course, sounds like someone just saying no. It's ne. It literally sounds like a way that I used to say no before I discovered that I was not being clear in how I spoke. But I just found that interesting, because it's in English you go nah, and that would be no. It would be a I don't want it. It's a nonchalant, like very just kind of no, I'm good sort of thing, like nah. But there, it was yes, it was sure, it was okay, it was it was just a confirmation that you're listening. I heard someone on the phone, and I don't know what they were saying on the other side, but they were sitting next to me on the subway, and all they said was "ne." And I was just like, huh. So they just had like a whole conversation with that. But I guess it just meant whatever it needed to be. I found that was interesting to me. And then there's thank you and this please and stuff like that, but I'm not the one who needs to be teaching that. I mean, I guess I can say them. Like thank you is 감사합니다, but whenever people said it, it was just kind of like 감사합니다. It's said quickly, so the middle part is sahabnida. Like the middle to the end is 감사합니다. It's the whole word. But it was usually just said so quickly that it's just 감사합니다. So the middle part just kind of gets, it's similar to 안녕하세요. It just kind of got squished together because people say it so fast. Oh, and then this please, a phrase I got very familiar with whenever I took too long trying to pronounce words on a menu in a restaurant. This please is 이거 주세요. So a little thing that I picked up was with AO, if anything ended in AO or nida, it was a very polite way of saying it. They had a formal manner of saying it. I don't think I never actually picked up what the informal way of saying it, or the slang way, or anything like that. And I don't think I would ever use it if I did, simply because I want to be respectful. But it was interesting that I eventually figured that out, because whenever other people would say things to just their friends and stuff like that, I never heard anything ending in AO or nida. But whenever I heard people at work speaking to their superiors or announcements on the train or stuff like that, it would phrases and stuff like that would always end in "ayo" or "nida" because it's polite. Which I don't know. I think that's cool. How it's, I don't know. It's a different way of being polite, which I think is cool. Again, I find languages cool because it's patterns that have evolved over hundreds of years, and they're still evolving to this day, and we regularly see changes in our own language every day. I don't know, it's cool. And same thing with the written language as well. The written language is really cool. Like I said, it's intimidating at first. It was really cool to see how it's like, oh, it's just a bunch of tiny little pieces that are super easy to learn because 99% of them are phonetically constant. And then you just stick 2 to 4 of them together, and then that becomes an actual letter that you can stick in a word. And like each grouping of them is essentially one syllable. Which is, I don't know, I think it's cool. There's a couple of things where it's not like one syllable, but for the most part, yeah, I don't know, I found that cool. But that was most of my first weekend. It was picking up small things on the language, making sure that I can read a sign, order from a restaurant, making sure that my hotel was there. But yeah, that's why I didn't stream, is because 1, I was doing things, and 2, because I was in a hotel and I did not want to be loud and interrupt other people who are in the hotel, or use up all the hotel's bandwidth, because something tells me they would not be happy with that. But yeah, so that was like my first weekend. Oh yes, chopsticks as well. Getting used to chopsticks. My first day was very rough with those. I struggled to eat much of anything, but I stuck with it because, as we have learned throughout my time streaming, I am stubborn, and I refuse to back down from a challenge that I know I can do. And eventually I got the hang of them. I was eating anything and everything with chopsticks by the end of the trip. And at this point, I'm going to try picking up a new habit of eating like potato chips with chopsticks. So, you know, you don't get stuff like Cheetos or Doritos dust all over your hands whenever you're eating. You can just keep them on the chopsticks. I was told that by another a new American friend I made there. They're like, oh, eat chips with chopsticks. It keeps everything so clean. It's like, ah, okay. So that ended up being one of my souvenirs. There's like a thing of chopsticks over there. Well, I don't think you just saw me turn my head. I think it, you know, like over there, over there. Yeah, it's very different. Eating was, for the most part, fairly normal otherwise. Utensils were a bit different. Like I said, I used chopsticks. Also, they like never gave us knives. It was always scissors. Meat scissors. Which was interesting. Like, so one of the places we went to start was Korean barbecue, where you cook the meat in front of you. In this case, they literally just said, here's your chopsticks, here's a spoon for the soup, here's your scissors to cut the meat, and here's tongs to get the meat on and off of the grill. And we're like, scissors? Scissors? We cut paper with those. But no, they cut everything with scissors. Which is interesting. I mean, it worked. You keep scissors sharp and you keep them clean, they'll cut meat. It'll work. I used scissors to cut pork. I used it to cut squid, octopus. I used it to cut a lot of things. And it worked. It was definitely different, but I mean, it worked. And I don't know, I never really bothered asking why. It's something that I now realize maybe I should have, so I would understand that. But I think at some point my brain just said, "Yep, scissors. Okay, cut the meat." Like, it was just what it was. As for meals, there's still standard for at least America. I don't know about other countries, but it's still like ordering for an individual person. You walk into a restaurant, you ordered a single meal, like a single entree and side for yourself. But there was also, I ate a lot more meals where you ordered for the table and they brought a big platter or something that was meant to be shared between the table, and everyone just kind of picked off of their chopsticks as they ate. It was just one big plate. For example, we got like it was like sweet pork and vegetables, and fortunately the person was kind enough to tell us that it's a table size, because we were idiots and about to go and order like 4 of them, one for each of us. And they would, don't do that. You can order 1 or 2 and you guys will probably be happy. And we're like, okay, we'll take your word for it. And then we just ordered 1 and they brought out 1. Yeah, big enough for the whole table. And we're like, oh, okay. Not what we expected. But pricing was also very interesting there, because some of the stuff that you would order for the table, it would be equivalent to 1 meal for 1 person, at least in America. Whether you were ordering for the table or ordering individually, and prices were very similar to America for 1 person. So the sweet pork or whatever that we got, we were about to order 1. It was, what was the price? It came out to be roughly like, I think it was like 11 or 12 USD. Which, like in America, you go to a restaurant and you order pork for 1 person, and it was usually like 11, 12 USD, I think. You know, you order a burger there as well, and comes out to be $7 or $8. You go to McDonald's here and you order, I don't know, a Big Mac or something like that, and it's $7 or $8. You know, so the pricing was fairly consistent there, which was interesting, because you could order for a table or order for yourself, and it was the same price. But ordering for the table made it very easy to split. Of course, given you have cash. Paying by card, it's a bit easy. It's a bit more difficult to split a single menu item when playing by card. But oh, actually, cash. That's another thing that was really cool. So the currency there is known as the Korean won. WON is how you would write it in English. And it's really cool. So here in America, you have the 1, the 2, the 5, the 10, the 20, the 50, and the 100. All USD. They're all the same size. They're all generally the same sort of color and design. You know, it's going to be green, same size bill the whole time. The design will be a little different to differentiate between all those different bills, but they're all going to be the same for the most part. There, everything is set on 1,000 system. So the exchange rate is 1 USD is roughly I think it was like 1.283, or excuse me, 1 USD is like 1,283 point something won. So 1,000 was 80 cents. That's what it came out to be. 1,001 was 80 cents, and they worked on 1,000 system. So you have the 1,001 bills, you have the 5,000, the 10,000, and then the 50,000. I didn't see any other bills besides that. I also have some coins. I was about to say I stole some coins, but I didn't steal them. I traded in currency for them. So I got the equivalent amount of currency back. They have 500 won coins, they have 100 won coins, and even a 50 won coin, which would be roughly equivalent. So those would be roughly equivalent to the US $half, dime and nickel in the order that I said. Which was interesting because very rarely did anything come out not to be like an even 1,000. And when it came to taxes, this was really interesting. Here in America, at least, you see something that says $5.99 or whatever. Marketing. $5.99. And so it's $5.99, and then when you actually pay for it, you have to pay a little bit of extra because of tax. That's how the way our system is set up. But there, whatever price you saw was the price you paid. So if something said 5,000 won, you handed them a 5,000 won bill and it perfectly covered it. One thing that was really interesting is always looking at the tax afterwards, because I don't know if they calculate it themselves or if it's calculated afterwards, but whatever price you pay, the tax was 1/11 of it. So for example, I went and I got, there was a really good pizza place called Pizza School. It sounds weird, but it was like a takeout pizza place with some crazy flavors. I'll talk about it a little more later. But one thing that I got, it was 11,000 won. And when I got the receipt, it said base price 10,000, tax 1,000. But the price on the menu already said 11,000. So I was like, oh, well, maybe it's added on afterwards and they're just kind enough to do that. No, but then something else that was 7,000, that doesn't come out to be even. It was, you know, it had 613 point something or something like that. I don't remember exactly what the number was for the price that I actually paid or what the tax was. I'm just making stuff up like off the top of my head. But I was like, oh, so that's a very weird number, so that's must be calculated afterwards. It must just be they don't want to make you pay more than what you see, so it's calculated afterwards and taken away instead of added on after what you paid or after what you see, which was really interesting. I went on a tangent, but the bills. So there's a 1, 5, 10, and 50,000. And so not only are they different designs, they have different faces on them. They have, of course, different numbers. It's also really interesting, and I can pull up. I didn't keep too much, but I did keep a little bit. I can pull this out right here. Oh, no, that's a business card. Put that back in there. We'll talk about that later. But so all the bills, they have different faces on them, of course, different like designs and stuff like that, meant to just similar to what we have in the US, just to differentiate between them all. But what's really interesting is, one, all of them have some sort of metallic strip on them. Whether that metallic strip is broken up, it's a square, it's a straight big bar, it's all different. So there's that's for one. And I think that's how they help to avoid counterfeit, is by having that shiny piece. It's kind of like how you would see the shiny bar on some like $100 bills, or like the see-through stuff on certain bills and stuff like that. You know, and they have the serial number and all that. So that's how they avoid counterfeit. But what's really interesting is each and every bill is a different color and a different size. So the 1,000 bill is blue and is the smallest. Then there's 5,000, which is a little bit bigger and red. And there's the 10,000, which is a little bit bigger than the 5 and it's green. And then the 50,000 is bigger than all of them and it's yellow. I just found that really cool. I think that's neat. I find that really cool. So let's see, what was I going on about after that? To the camera! Figure out where we went. Okay, so then after that, it was, well, this is, I guess, still technically the first weekend. So Monday was, the first Monday I was there was actually Memorial Day, for Korea, South Korea. So we still didn't go in for work on that day. Everybody had the day, I mean, most people had the day off. Some people still went in. But what we did was we just explored. So we went to a few different places. We went to like a city hall, Seoul City Hall. We went to a few different special sites. We took some pictures. We found an open library, just kind of in the middle, in front of the city hall. That was pretty cool. We went shopping a little bit, tried out some interesting foods. One thing I got, the only translation I could get for it was a citrus slushy. I tried asking what the name of the fruit was, but they couldn't tell me anything other than citrus. But I was told, at the very least, it's a fruit that only grows in Korea. But that's all I was able to be told. It was citrus, and it only grows in Korea. And it was basically this like smoothie thing that I got. And it was really, really good. It tasted like a combination of an orange and a lemon. And I did some looking around on Google, and I have still no idea what it is or what it's called. I could not find what it was called. But that was really cool. But then oh, come on. I know you save the locations of my pictures. I have that turned on. Where was I? Where is the name? I know. How do I access the... Hold on. I'm sorry. I didn't think this through. I figured I'd be able to remember names and stuff, but I do not. Open in the map. Don't know why it requires me to open the map. Thank you for giving me the exact coordinates of my location. Can I just get a name? Please? Is that what it's called? Yes. So we went in on that day. We visited Gwanghwamun and Gyeongbokgung Palace, and that was a ton of fun. It was really, really cool to see it. But the big thing that was special about that was, as per many of the palaces in South Korea that are considered historical tourist sites, you can actually go and rent hanbok. It's clothing worn by ancient royalty and stuff like that. So you can go and you can rent it. So me and a few other friends that I had met during my first couple days there, we went and we rented out hanbok. I was the only guy in this massive group. I guess I can say that. There was like over 100 of us in this group of interns. We were all working at different companies, but we all traveled together due to circumstances and stuff like that. But there was over like 100 of us, and I was the only guy to wear the hanbok. Everyone else, all the other girls, were excited to look like, they literally looked like Disney princesses. It was really cool, actually, to see them all walking around, and it was really cool. But I was the only guy to wear the hanbok, so I walked around in this like prince's attire, or maybe it was a guard's attire. I don't really know fully. I didn't really bother to ask. I just thought it looked cool. And it fit me, so I was like, I'll take it. Oh, we rented that out for a few hours. And we looked around the palace, and it was really, really cool. We went to the courtyard. We didn't get to go into it, but we were able to at least look into the throne room. It was really cool. It was a really beautiful day. Like, the sun was out. It was just the right temperature. And surprisingly, with how heavy this material looked, it looks like very heavy cloth. But it's not. It's very light. It's very breathable. It was very cool. It was very, very, very cool. Oh yeah, I can actually probably send you guys some pictures for the people who know me personally. Maybe I did send some pictures. I don't know where exactly I've sent them to. Let's see, which channel should I put this in? I'll put this in general, I guess. Give me one moment. So here we go. Here's what I'm talking about, Hyacinth. It should be in general. But yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I got to wear. It was very interesting. I shared it with I sent it to my mom, and then she proceeded to share it with like my entire extended family, and they all got a kick out of it. Yeah, that was a really cool day. Let's see. After that, we went to... Man, it's really gonna make it a pain for me to go and get the names of all these places. We went to the river. We saw the Rainbow Bridge. It was really cool. There was a live band playing there. We sat down and we watched the sunset. There was a sort of a light show that was going on the bridge. You know, there was water spraying and stuff like that. It was a nice way to end the night. And then, of course, after walking around, let's see, how much did my phone say I walked? My phone was very happy with me. Keep it simple. The health stuff on my phone was very, very happy. So that day I walked 8.5 miles. Yeah, I walked 8.5 miles on that day. And then, of course, I decided the next day to go with a different small group of people to go and climb Bagundae Peak. It's the tallest mountain in South Korea. I think that's what I was told. I think I was told it was the tallest mountain in South Korea. It is 836 meters above sea level. So basically, it was like an 830 meter climb because South Korea was basically at sea level. Yeah, so we took the shakiest bus ride that was full, so we had to stand. That's one thing that was very interesting, was public transportation, 99% of the time, you didn't sit, you stood. Because everyone else was already taking the seats. Because everyone takes public transportation there. Very different from America. At least most places in America. I know New York, you take the subway and stuff like that, but where I am, you don't take the subway. It just, you don't. It doesn't exist. We hopped on a bus, went to the foot of the mountain, in the rockiest bus ride I have ever taken. I felt like I was going to be thrown out the window, but I held on. And that day I realized I was in much better shape than I thought I was, because we hiked 12 miles up and down. It was up 6 miles and down 6 miles. And I never felt out of breath. The last stretch was almost like you crawl up to the top, not crawl, but like rock climb up to the top, because it was almost smooth face rock, like just barely enough. They had to put, there was like rope on the sides that you had to grab onto to like pull yourself up. I stood in between the rope and I held my hands out, but I just sprinted my way up there because everyone else in the group was like, no, you can go first if you're so confident and you're so full of energy. And I was like, okay. Just ran right up to the top. Yeah, I was never out of breath, so I was very happy with my performance. I got some really cool pictures. Of course, again, popping into the Discord if you want to see. Don't worry, it'll take me less time to scroll through my album as time goes on. I don't really pose in pictures, so a lot of these are going to be awkward. But yeah, that's at the top of the peak. Really pretty view. It was a bit hazy that day, so if it looks like it's foggy, that's why. Because it is. But yeah, that was a ton of fun. That was really cool. And somehow my legs weren't dead. There's a lot of wild cats. A lot of just random cats. You can find them all. What I found out is they are all over Korea. We found like 10 of them while climbing the mountain. Throughout our trip, we just saw 4 or 5 of them just walking around the city. They were just everywhere. No one claims them. They aren't really scared of anybody, but they won't get too close to you either. They keep their distance. But, you know, sometimes every once in a while someone will go, oops, I poured a handful of cat food onto the ground. And, you know, the locals take care of them and stuff like that. Let's see. There's a lot of ads for anime that I took pictures of. Stuff like Tower of God. I saw quite a few ads for that. There were a lot of Genshin ads. Wow, I took a lot of pictures of advertisements. Oh yes, one thing in particular. I think in Japanese it's Uma Usume, and I think in English it's Starting Line. It's literally an anime about horse racing, except all the horses are anime girls. For some odd reason, that was incredibly popular there. I could hop onto the subway, and if it was crowded, I'd see at least 4 or 5 people around me of all different ages playing the mobile game. There were ads on taxis for this, with all the different characters all over them. You can find them all over the walls, on bus stops, subways, on billboards. They were everywhere. I don't know what was so popular about the anime, but it was really freaking popular. That's about all I have to say about it. But they were far more comfortable with showing anime ads and stuff like that than America. It's kind of sad to come back and just see the generic car insurance and ads and stuff like that. And I was like, no! Show me my really cool, epic anime art. But oh well. So let's see. Then the next, I'm just kind of gonna go over like a few different days. Because of course the next few days were then spent working. My work started. Again, I can't share too much because of contract, but also I don't want to dox myself or anyone else who maybe wants their privacy kept private. So I'm not going to talk too much about work. I'll just say it was very cool. Some very, very cool people. And I'm very happy to get to have worked with them on their projects. And maybe we'll see their projects in America someday. And if they somehow encounter this, you guys were amazing, and I hope you all are doing well, and I wish you all the best of luck for the future of your project. And yeah, hope you all are doing well, if you happen to see this. Let's see. Then we explored a bit more. We went around. We went to the Sinchon Roasting Library, which was really, really cool. It's like a coffee and a library in one. coffee shop and library in one, which I know you can find like in America, but this one was especially interesting because they had coffee on their shelves that was shaped like books, and you can read about the history of that coffee, which was really neat. Oh yes, and then we found... I don't know exactly what it's called. I think it's AK and. It was like this giant multi-level department store, everything on all the different floors. Was like different things. But sorry, I'm scrolling through pictures right now. This and this. Here we go. I'll just send those in batch, and then I'll talk about all of them as I go through. So one thing in particular that we found there was, as we were walking by, was a giant banner that was just one piece. And we were like, oh, that's pretty cool. Let's go check that out. So we walked up to this floor, and its entire floor just dedicated to anime. It was so cool. So freaking cool. There was figure stores, there were trading cards, there was a couple like Pokemon Go arcade machines. There was a very small gaming store in there. And one thing that I discovered is that League of Legends is insanely popular in Korea. It is insanely popular. All my coworkers were talking to me about it. They're like, oh, do you play? And I was like, yeah, I've dabbled in it. I've touched on it a little bit. I played a few games. And they're like, oh, what rank are you? I was like, I don't even have enough characters. I'm not even high enough level to unlock. Like, I've never played a ranked match in my life. I don't even have the ability to. They're like, oh, dang. They're like, we're diamond. I was like, oh, I'm bad. But yeah, they were super excited to talk to me about that, and it's incredibly popular there. And apparently, I did not know this. The most popular professional like league player in the world. I think they were calling him Faker. I think it was his screen name or something like that. Is a Korean player, and he plays on Korean servers and stuff like that. Like, oh, it was pretty cool to hear about that and listen to everyone talk about that and see all these like really elaborate figures and stuff like that of all the different champions and all the different ads and stuff like that for it in this little gaming store. But also on this floor was an anime cafe where they regularly switched between animes. I was there. I got to see it on the last day where it was My Hero Academia. So I got to have... I don't know exactly how it was. I tried using a translator app, but it came out really, really weird. Sometimes some of the stuff came out weird. Like, I went to a bakery once, and they had sandwiches, and I was just gonna grab that for lunch. And I tried to translate the name of one of the menu items they had, and it came out as sexy cheese. And I was like, I don't think that's quite right. It was a crab sandwich. It was crab. I was like, I have no idea where that came from. But okay, thanks, translator apps. But so I don't know exactly what it was. I had a herbal tea. It was really good. It was like an herbal milk tea. It was really good. It was themed after Midoriya. And then I had some strawberry mochi that was themed after Todoroki, and that was pretty good. I enjoyed that. And then afterwards, I met up with some people, and we got something called Bingsu. I did not know what Bingsu was. Gaming. We actually aren't gaming. today. Well, maybe we will. I don't know. Depends on how long story time takes. But it's good to hear from you, Soup. How you doing? But then, so Bingsu. No gaming. Not right now, at least. Yeah, so Bingsu is a dessert. It's the general, the core of Bingsu is, and I've seen it done like 2 different ways. It's either ice flakes with like condensed milk or cream poured over them. So it's like a snow cone, but it's like if ice cream and a snow cone had a baby. I don't really know how to describe it. But there's that, but then there's also just like frozen milk or cream flakes, where they just froze the milk or cream itself and then grinded it up, shaved it, whatever you want to call it, instead of just taking ice and pouring it over. To me, they were roughly equivalent. Some people say that they greatly prefer one over the other. I just think they tasted good. But we went to this really good store. It was called Sulbing. They had giant things of Bingsu. One group of 4 that went with us ordered just one for the whole table. Me and one other guy, we shared one. And they had tons of different flavors. But it's very common that they put like a red bean, like a sweet red bean jelly. Which sounds weird to say sweet and jelly in combination with bean. But red beans, they were sweet, and they were always put in like a jelly. They had a ton of different flavors. They had melon, they had chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, any flavor of ice cream that you could think of, they had it. What we ended up getting was green tea. And it was really, really good. It was just it was the cream flakes on the bottom. And then they covered it in like matcha green tea powder. And then they stuck little things of red bean mochi all over it. And then they had green tea mochi. 2 big things of green tea mochi on top, and it was delicious. So good. Let's see. So that was that. Oh yes, I saw a lot in the anime store. I was in my element. After that, after everyone went back to the hotel, I decided I was going to stay out for another couple more hours. Chill out at this anime store. It was so cool. They had manga there that was both in Korean and Japanese. I tried looking at getting some Japanese manga because they had some new releases. They had like the newest volume of the Helpful Fox Senko-san. They had literally every single volume of JoJo. And they just had a lot of really cool series and stuff like that that I was interested in buying. Land of the Lustrous, I think is what it's called in English. I've been interested in that for a little while, but I haven't found anywhere to really take a look at it. But I found it there, and I wanted to buy them, but most of them, they were sold out of their like actual stock, and they only had display copies left. Which I later learned, much later in my trip, that it's actually okay to purchase the display copies if it is the last one left. I did not know that, and the staff I was talking to probably thought I was an idiot after I said, "Oh, okay, thanks for your help," and then just walked out the store after they said they only had one copy, the display copy, left. Yeah, but oh well. I did end up buying some Korean manga and a Korean light novel. I can't read them right now. Unfortunately, I can't. I'm not fluent in Korean. I could technically read them and like say the sounds and stuff like that, but I wouldn't be able to understand them, so I gotta further my studies before I do that. It's a goal for me to look forward to, but until then, it's a nice souvenir decoration sort of thing. Berserk, they did have Berserk. I didn't buy Berserk, but they did have Berserk in Korean. I ended up getting... The manga that I got was the first volume of Kaiju number 8. I heard that's really good. So I was originally going to get it in Japanese, but then I decided, no, let's get it in Korean since I have it in both. It'll be a souvenir. And then another one that I got simply because I was like, let's get something that's like I can only find in Korean. So I went to specifically like the light novel section, away from all the stuff that you would normally see, SAO, you know, insert other popular things here. I don't remember all of them off the top of my head, but I went over there and I found specifically one called Revenant High. It's an isekai. That's what I was able to get from like translations. I wasn't able to find much about it online, but it was an isekai. I like the art style that was on the cover. It's a novel, so there's like pictures in it, but I was like, but it caught my eye, and that's what made me take a look at it. But it seems interesting. It's an isekai about, it's a fantasy isekai, and I'm a sucker for those. So I went and I bought it, and maybe one day I'll be able to read it and be able to experience the story, or at least part 1 of 5. I didn't buy the whole set. I only bought one. But it was also really cool because they had a lot of like figurines and stuff like that there. One thing that I saw was a lot of HoloLive stuff, which was really cool. I saw Selfie Girl, which had why can't I not think of her name? I'm only thinking of the memes. No, oh my gosh, I'm terrible. Why? Oh no, I'm a terrible human being. Hold on, I gotta think of what is the name. Minato Aqua. Selfie Girl with Minato Aqua in it. I found that was pretty cool. I didn't buy it, but I saw it in a display case. That was pretty cool. I ended up finding the trading cards. Both the Weiss Schwartz and the what were the other ones? Hold on. I bought one. What are these? They actually don't say the name, they just say HoloLive on them. What? Oh no. Okay, well I bought booster packs with HoloLive. Yes, I am a weeaboo and I like VTubers. But I saw those and it's like, oh man, those would be really expensive to go and like import normally. You know, like ordering them and having to get them shipped and stuff like that, but I was just able to go and get them there for a reasonable price. So I got one for me and I got one for my buddy who's still out and about. Meet a VTuber in real life. I mean, it's entirely possible I did. But I just didn't know because I don't know, but like they just didn't tell me. If I did, great, cool. I didn't know that I did. I don't really know. Yeah, it was cool that I got to see those because normally those are pretty hard to come by, at least in America. Let's see. So that was most of that day. We found Among Us themed like milk carton things, like bottles of milk in a convenience store. We found that funny. Because haha funny Among Us. Yeah, that's it. We went to a restaurant that it was an Italian restaurant mixed with Korean style, and we thought it was funny because we saw I won't name it, I won't call them out, but it was funny because we looked at one of the signs and originally we were like, wait, we recognize this text somewhere, And it was the Latin filler text that a lot of things will put inside of text boxes or whatever. Just to fill up space. We're like, wait. Found that funny. Ah, yes. And then it was this day. This day we went to pizza school, which I still think was crazy. It was one, it's an interesting name. Pizza school is not, I guess, a usual name for a restaurant. That was very, very different from what we expected. But it was so good, and it was pizzas not like you had seen before. They had, of course, the standard cheese, the pepperoni, the meat lovers, the supreme, or whatever you want to call it, the specialty, the combo, whatever you call it. You know, different places call it different things. But then I'm just gonna go through their menu because there were some. I hope I'm allowed to do this. It was so good. It was the best pizza I have ever had in my life. But also, there was flavors that you would never see, like, anywhere. So I'm just gonna go through this. And I'll say which ones I had, as we go across them. And I guess I should explain this real quick. So basically, it was this tiny little restaurant that had like one table for if people wanted to eat in, but it was mostly just meant that you take out. And it was this pizza that was big enough for small enough for one person to eat, but it was also big enough that if two people wanted to split it in half, two people could eat it and still be full. It was like just the perfect size. So usually I went with the group, and you know, there were usually like 3 or 4 of us, and we just got like 3 or 4 different pizzas, and then we split them. Each of us took a couple slices out of everybody's. And in the end, it still equated to roughly just like one personal size pizza. So it was really good. And it was all really good price too. So I'll just go through their menu because it was crazy. We walked in and we saw it and we're like, what in the world? So first up on the menu is a sweet potato pizza. Pizza with sweet potato on it. And there was just a standard potato pizza. There was a hot chicken pizza. Bulgogi pizza. And I guess I should explain this. Bulgogi is what I can best describe as similar to that of Korean ground beef. It's not the same. They are actually separate. But it's a bit different, and that's probably the best way that I can describe it. It's a bit sweeter. The meat is usually held together with a special sauce. I don't really know exactly what it is. But it's different from ground beef that you would find like in America. Then they had a Napoli pizza. They had a truffle potato pizza, which is the first one that I had. And it was really good. One thing that I eventually came to learn and understand is that truffles are actually, in America, it's considered like a delicacy food. It's usually a bit more expensive, it's harder to come by, you don't see it everywhere. But you see truffles everywhere in Korea. I found it on every single South Korean menu that I saw in my month there. There was at least one option that was for truffle foods, whether it was truffle fries, truffle burger, in this case a truffle potato pizza. And it's all really, really good. I like truffle. But it was insanely good. It was so good. Then I don't actually know how to pronounce this. I think it's a carbone pizza, but it's like noodles, and I don't know exactly what that meat is. It was like a noodles and like a special thinly sliced meat. It wasn't pepperoni, but it looks like sort of the kind that you would put on a cracker at a fancy party or something like that. And then there was an Irish potato pizza, which was similar to the truffle potato pizza, but the truffle potato pizza had sausage and olives and some other extra stuff on it. Whereas the Irish potato pizza was just the potatoes and truffle cream. That one was really good. One of my friends got that. It's a gorgonzola pizza, double garlic barbecue, steak, chili shrimp, grilled pork and pineapple, grilled pork holic bite. Anything with the name bite in it had a special crust that was like, it had little cheese pockets in it that you could peel off one by one. A Dutch bite pizza, which was a pizza with, it was like hot dogs, tomatoes, and like peppers. It was really good. It looked really good. I didn't end up actually getting it, unfortunately. We're just stuck with kind of other things. There was a Mexican bite pizza, which was actually, it had a little bit of a kick to it, but it was really good. And there was a honey beef pizza. And there's 3 different kinds of quesadilla pizza. And there's a chicken filet pizza, which was just like a sweet and spicy chicken tender on a pizza with peppers. Which sounds really weird, but it was really good. And yeah, that was pretty much what they had. And all of those were really good. So yeah, we had a few of them, and they were all really good. One thing in particular that some people were really off-put by, but I actually really liked, I think it worked really well with the flavors, was they put corn on all their pizza. There was corn on almost every single one of those pizzas. But it's not American corn, because American corn, one thing that some people don't know, is American corn is sweet corn. Our corn is actually very, very sweet. Excuse me. Very sweet. Most other places, it's not sweet, not as sweet. But I think it worked very, very well. Similar to how some people put olives or peppers or stuff like that on their pizza. They put corn and peppers and stuff like that on their pizza, which it worked really well. I liked it. I really liked it. Yeah, it was a very interesting place. We ended up going to a couple of times just to kind of try out some stuff, and it was really good. I personally don't drink, but a few of my friends did, and they said the alcohol was really good there. They said it went down very smooth. I don't really know exactly what that means, but this that's what they thought. I did end up trying a lot of like bar or pub food, which was really good. Wings there were different. We had wings one time. It's very good. I got a special flavor that was unique to the place we went. I couldn't find it anywhere else. It's called the Korean glaze. It was like a sweet and spicy, not like their normal sweet and spicy, but it was good. I don't really know how to describe it, but it was good. Then there was one day on a weekend, we volunteered at a like day camp, summer camp sort of thing for kids. So we got to run around with a couple of these kids, play red light, green light, special games. Just in general, it was some fun stuff. Stuff that we can do where we didn't have to worry about the language barrier, and it was a ton of fun. Just seeing them all smile and stuff like that. It was fun. We went to a place called No Brand Burger. It was interesting. They have their own brand of cola and cider there, even though it's called No Brand, which is kind of funny. I think that's probably why they call it that, because it's funny. But it was interesting. And that actually reminds me, so in South Korea, where I was, restaurants, so in America, you go to a restaurant and they either have Pepsi products or they have Coke products. In South Korea, from what I could find, they had Pepsi products or they had Lotte products. And Lotte was a different brand. And Lotte had a special kind of soda called Chilsung Cider. And it is now my favorite soda in the whole world, and it was so good. It was like Sprite, but better. Not to shut down Sprite, I still love Sprite. But yes, I'm a big soda drinker. And so I really like more fruity sodas. And so that was really, really good. And then some more work stuff. I went to another Korean barbecue. That was really good. Each Korean barbecue was a little bit different, but they were all very similar in the fact that you had the meat that you cooked in front of you. And then there was a lot of just like extra vegetables and side dishes served on the side that were just for the table, and everyone kind of just scooped out whatever they wanted. Whether it was rice or vegetables, or they actually had like a big bowl of what I could best describe as scrambled eggs, which was really good. And it was with situations like that I really appreciated the fact that I took the time to go and get used to chopsticks. Because holy cow, you needed to be good with those in order to snatch up whatever you needed. Oh yes, and then this was a ton of fun. This was really cool, and I think I may be able to share some of these pictures in the Discord as well. Sorry, stream. A lot of these pictures have people in them, and I don't want to dox anybody, so sorry about that. Maybe I can photo edit things and stuff like that, and maybe share a couple pictures online. Stuff that I won't dox people because I've censored faces or cropped them out or stuff like that. But then on one weekend, we went to a place called Nami Island. Now, Nami Island is very interesting. It's a little island in a river that is normally connected, but by land. You could walk over to it. It's normally connected to South Korea. But seasonal rains would occasionally turn it into an island. Due to dams that were built, hydroelectric dams, it's now permanently an island. It still runs off of South Korea's power, if I recall correctly, because it was originally still connected to it before it was just became an island permanently. Well, permanently as long as a dam will stand there, I guess. Permanently as long as we make it, I guess. I say we, but I'm not involved in that. But basically it's kind of sort of considered its own independent nation, because you did have to go through an immigration service and purchase a visa in order to go and visit this island. But it was similar to that of like a tourist attraction. It was a tourist attraction. You could purchase a lifetime pass if you were a special member of like ambassadors or stuff like that. But you could also, if you're just a standard civilian, a foreigner or whatever, you could purchase a 1-year pass or just like a day pass. And it got you onto the island and back off the island and enabled you to do tourist things there. One thing that was really interesting is you could only get off the island by ferry. You could also get onto the island by ferry as well. It's like a short 5-minute boat ride. But what me and a few friends did was we found out you can zip line onto the island. So you go up in this really, really tall tower, and they hook you up. And they say, make sure you don't drag your feet on the ground when you go when you land. And then they send you off. And it was that was really cool. We got to zip line into technically a foreign country. Yeah, that was really cool. There's a lot of greenery. Got to eat some interesting food. I had like a spicy squid pasta. It was good. There was a lot of wild bunnies there, and these bunnies were huge. Like, it was like the size of my forearm, huge. But they were so fluffy and adorable, and they were everywhere. Like, they were bigger than the birds. It was insane. The only thing they weren't bigger, the only birds they weren't bigger than were the occasional peacocks that weren't afraid of people at all. We grabbed ice cream because it was like, I think it was like 80, upper 80s in Fahrenheit, and it was really humid that day, so it was real hot. We grabbed ice cream, we sat down, and this peacock walked right in front of us. Like, I could have stretched my pinky toe, and I would have been able to touch this bird. Like, I wouldn't even have to have, like, moved my body or whatever. Just came by and took a look at us. Like, sup? And then just continued walking by. Real pretty bird. Well, that was an interesting encounter. But they also had an ostrich farm. I don't know why, but they had ostriches there. And they didn't like me for some reason. They liked everyone else. But if I walked in their general direction, they all got angry at me. I don't know if it's just because the light was reflecting off my glasses just right, or if it's because I was taller than everyone there. I wasn't that much taller, but I was a little bit taller than everyone else there. I don't know. They always were like, I don't like this guy. I don't know, maybe my deodorant was a funny smell or something like that to them. I don't know. There's a lot of cool stuff, a lot of just really pretty things on the water, a lot of pretty forests, some sculptures. It was really cool. There was one thing where it was just this tower with a dome over it. It was pouring water off the sides. It was really cool. This little exhibit thing. And then one of my last days, my company that I was working with, they said, hey, let's go sightseeing over the weekend. And so we all did. And we went to quite a few different places. One place we went to was called the Unification Observatory. I won't talk too much about it because I don't want to say something that's considered rude. But it was an observatory that's right along the DMZ, the demilitarized zone. It was right up against the neutral zone along the river. It was 2 kilometers away from basically what is considered like the barrier line. I don't know what exactly it's called. Like I think it may just be like the line of the DMZ or something like that. I don't know exactly. I couldn't quite fully understand some of the stuff, and I apologize for that. But basically, you could look out. They had binoculars, and you could look out, and just over the river, it's North Korea. And you could see people just living their lives. And again, I won't talk too much else about it, because I don't think what I can say will do justice to what is there. I also don't want to say something that's going to possibly offend people, stuff like that. It was a really interesting experience. Something that, you know, I learned a lot, and I also got to see something that I didn't think I would get to see. It was an interesting experience, that's for sure. And again, I won't elaborate too much further. But it was called the Unification Observatory. After that, we went around just a little bit more. We got food. And one thing that was, this was really interesting. We got boiled chicken soup. And it was interesting, because what I thought was, oh, there's just going to be chicken in the soup, like how you have chicken noodle soup and it's chunks of chicken meat. No, this was soup, where they took an entire chicken, like literally a whole chicken, and boiled it in the soup. And then they served you the soup, and then they took out the chicken on a plate, and then there was the whole chicken for the table to eat. You just kind of took off whatever you wanted. You want a wing? Pull off a wing. You want a leg? Pull off a leg. You want breast meat? You know, take a chunk of breast meat. White meat, dark meat, you know, it's... You've had literally the whole chicken. I was like, oh, that's definitely not something they do in America. It tasted real good, though. So I was okay with it. Then we went to a Chinatown. After a little more sightseeing around, we went to the Book City, which is a city that, like, the entire city is just dedicated. Like, people live there and stuff like that, but the whole city is, with the exception of, like, you know, a grocery store, restaurants, it's all dedicated to books. They have a whole book production there, from printing to publishing to, like, shipping. They have a whole warehouse and, like, stuff like that, and it was really cool. So we went there, and then after that, we went to a pier. And originally we were just meant to, like, walk around, see some stuff. But one of our co-workers asked a couple of us there, they're like, oh, do you like theme parks? And it turns out, oh no, not now, hiccups, I'm talking. Where is it? Come on. I'm sorry. I hate everything. I'm talking, body. Please get yourself under control. We know how to breathe. We've done it before. We're doing it for a long time now. We went to the theme park, and there was, like, only, like, 5 or 6 rides. That was it. So we only did, like, 2 rides, because you bought tickets individually for the ride. You didn't buy, like, an entrance to the park. You just bought tickets individually for these rides, because there was only, like I said, 5 or 6 rides. It was really funny, because you could instantaneously tell which one of us were thrill seekers and the other people who were sweating bullets. We did the one thing where it's like you hop on this big row of seats and it just tilts it back and forth until eventually it tilts you up really high, and then you fall back down and tilt back the other way. We did that one, and then we also did the one where it's literally just a tower where it picks you up and then it drops you. We just did that, and it was real funny because some of our coworkers refused to get on the rides. They were terrified. They were like, no, 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 too scary, too scary. It was real funny. Yeah, so we all had fun there. One thing that was really funny, it was just random statue of Shrek. I already shared this one in the Discord if anybody who knows me personally wants to know what I'm talking about. I already shared it in the Discord. It was just a random statue of Shrek, just kind of staring off into the distance. It had no purpose. It wasn't associated with any ride. It was just there. It was just staring off into the distance. No one knew why it was there. It was just there. And that was real fun. And to end off the night, we went to a Chinatown. Saw some sights there. Saw how, like, just general layout of the town was similar yet different. We saw how designs are different, food was different. It was cool to see. Why does that put that picture at the end? I did that on the weekend we all volunteered. That's why. Okay, I thought I was missing something. We went to an escape room. We went to the Seoul escape room. It was really, really cool. I can highly recommend it if you're ever in the area. There's a couple different places that'll have it. I don't remember exactly which one we went to, unfortunately. So I couldn't tell you which one. But as far as I understand, they're all pretty high quality and they're all really good. At least from what I was told by people who went to the other locations. It was really cool. We finished, it was an hour-long escape room. We finished with 1 minute and 33 seconds remaining. We had a real fun picture with that. Real fun stuff. It's funny. I won't reveal too much, but the room that we went into, I went into it knowing it was going to be themed after a bar, but we didn't realize that a lot of the clues were going to be themed after alcohol, and having a group of 4 and have 3 of the people who don't drink, it was an experience, that's for sure. In the end, though, we only used 2 hints in the entire room, so I'm still quite proud of us for being able to figure everything out. Even though none of us, only 3 of us didn't drink, and we were still able to get all these clues, that some of which were themed around alcohol. I was pretty proud of all of us. Let's see. That was about it. There's a couple other work things. Meetings. No one wants to hear about meetings. Just some generic food stuff. I guess I can talk about food in general. So food in general there is very different from America, at least. It was a lot less salty, that's for sure. American food, what I've come to realize, tends to be very salty. We put a lot of salt on everything. Take, for example, our French fries. Our French fries are probably more salt than potato. But there, with the unless you went specifically to like an American chain like McDonald's, which even then the fries weren't as salty, and they actually had a very different menu, which I'll talk about in a minute. But they didn't salt their fries. You very rarely got salt put on the food. Sometimes they'd give a very small salt dish to the table, and if you had like meats or something like that, you could dip it in the salt just a little bit. You really weren't supposed to put that much on it though, because usually the meat just had a ton of flavor already. But it was like not salty at all. I remember one time I actually had lunch with my boss. We went and we grabbed food, and we grabbed the same thing, and he's like, "Oh, this is a bit salty for me. How is it for you?" I was like, "Really? This has salt? Like, this has salt, period?" Like, there was like no salt in any of that food. I feel like this one's kind of obvious, but you aren't going to find a lot of beef. Beef was like nowhere to be found because, one, South Korea is smaller, and it takes up a lot of land to grow beef, but also they're by the sea, so it's just seafood is everywhere. What I ended up doing was a lot of restaurants that I went to had shrimp burgers, and whether it was they put individual pieces of shrimp or they kind of grinded them up and turned them into a patty shrimp, but most restaurants had shrimp burgers, and that ended up being my metric for determining how different restaurants were quality wise and stuff like that, which I say I judge them quality wise, but I'll give you a little insight into my food taste. I will eat anything. I like everything. So it was all really good. I just got to taste the different styles that all the different restaurants did. It was really cool. Yeah, that was, I think, the saltiest stuff that I had was the seafood, and that was natural salt content. It wasn't like any added salt. So that was one thing that I noticed. Another thing that I noticed was almost everything there was either sweet, spicy, or both. For example, whenever we got pork, it was always sweet pork. Almost all the seafood that we got was spicy. Kimchi, a unique dish to that general area, not specifically South Korea, but that general area of the world, I think, does kimchi. I don't know many other places, but I know the general area, it's a cultural thing there. Just for that part of the world. Like I said, not specifically South Korea, but that was my introduction to it, was when I went to South Korea. But like all that was spicy. And of course, sometimes it was a combination of the two. It was sweet and spicy. But yeah. So that was one thing that I also noticed that was really interesting. But I enjoyed it. I like sweet things. I like the flavor of spicy things. And this stuff was spicy, but it didn't have a lot of kick. So it was mostly just spicy taste with a little bit of kick, which was really good. I very much enjoyed it. So I decided to check out a McDonald's. I said I would come back to that. I decided to check out a McDonald's one day for lunch because I was talking with my mom, and she's like, "Oh, well, it probably has a different menu." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't think about that." So I went to the McDonald's, and it was a very different menu. They had the standard stuff. They had the standard quarter pounder beef burger. They had the Big Mac, but most of the menu was not anywhere that you would find. There was bulgogi. There was one burger where it was both beef and shrimp. It was one patty of beef and then one patty of shrimp. They just had a plain shrimp burger. I think it was called like the 1970s burger or something like that. The 1980s burger, something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was called. It was the 19-somethings burger. But it was, I tried that out. It was a bulgogi burger with caramelized onion and like sugared bacon, which was still in the end being very American, but it was like a Korean twist on an American style burger, which was really, really good. There was a KFC as well. I didn't buy anything at the KFC, but I snuck a peek at their menu. Most of it was fairly normal. But they, fairly normal. Again, I'm saying normal. I'm trying not to say normal because it's only normal to me. It's only normal for my life. Maybe in a more general sense, normal to the United States of America sort of life. But the menu was fairly similar to what you would see in America. But there was one thing in particular. Called it a chicken burger. And my thought was, oh, it's a burger, but instead of beef, it's chicken. No. Most burgers that you see, it's bun, toppings, patty, bun. This was breaded chicken, some stuff like pickles, cheese. I don't know if it had cheese, but I know it had pickles at the very least. Patty, and then chicken. Breaded chicken. Instead of buns, it was breaded chicken. Which I thought was very interesting. And according to the people who had it, it was good. But I personally didn't have it. I chose other things for lunch. Stuff like that. Oh, I mentioned pickles. They had a lot of pickled vegetables there. And what's funny is that in America, the only pickled vegetable that I've had, well, I don't even know if it's, it's cucumber, pickled cucumber, which is what everyone just refers to as pickles. But I had pickled radish, I had pickled beets, I had a lot of pickled things, and it was all really good because pickles there are different. It's very, very sweet. It's funny, most people described the tastes of ketchup and pickles switching, because the ketchup there had a lot more vinegar, and it wasn't as sweet. And the pickles there were a lot more sweet, a lot less vinegar taste. So it's funny how most people would describe them as like being switched. And I actually really liked it. I liked the ketchup with a lot more vinegar sort of taste to it. I think it worked well with the fries not having a ton of salt. If in many places just flat outright not having salt on the fries at all. And the pickles were sweet, and I like sweet things. I'm a sucker for sweet things, so I quite liked it. I think it was very cool to have, sort of food differences and stuff like that. Very, very cool. Let's see. What else? Guess I can run through the album again, just make sure that I covered everything that I wanted to. For the first couple days, showing up, getting used to chopsticks. Went to grab Korean barbecue for the first time, where they cooked in front of us. Or rather, we cooked our own stuff. Your mom makes sweet pickles sometimes? Yeah. Yeah, one thing we went to was, there was a restaurant that was known for its chicken and beer, was what everyone referred to it as. It was the restaurant with the chicken and beer. And it's literally just fried chicken. They serve you everything fried. It was fried wings, legs, breast meat. They even had neck. And they served pickled radish alongside it. And I think I ended up eating more pickled radish than I did chicken that night, because it was really good. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. The sweet pickled stuff I actually ended up really liking. So it's cool that your mom makes that sometimes. See, we went to the palace. I wore the hanbok. Oh yeah, here's something. Most like American brands that you would find had the same sort of branding there, but the name was in Korean or whatever, in Hangul. But one thing in particular that was different was Fanta. Fanta had a completely different logo. It wasn't just turning the name Fanta into Hangul. It was completely different. And instead of having orange as their most popular flavor there, like orange is considered like the default Fanta flavor in America, at least that's what I've seen. But there it was pineapple. All the Fanta was pineapple. Did I see any cat cafes? I did not, unfortunately. I didn't realize there were really many there. I did not see any cat cafes. Climbed the mountain. 10 gazillion anime advertisements, and I was really happy about that. The library, the anime store, Bingsu, a couple different restaurants, specifically pizza and wings, no brand burger, volunteer activities, going to Nami Island, sightseeing on one of my last days, and yeah, that was about it. Let's see. Oh, yes, the rain. The rain. So, one thing in particular that I noticed, 99% of people that I saw had umbrellas and chose actively not to use raincoats. And raincoats, you like couldn't find them in stores or stuff like that. But I prefer a raincoat. I prefer having something to wear so I can still hold stuff if I need to. So I wore a raincoat, but I was like the only person who did. Umbrellas were everywhere. Everyone always had one attached to their bag, and no one went anywhere without an umbrella. It was interesting because we only had maybe 2 or 3 days out of the month that I was there. We only had 2 or 3 days that actually it really just rained, and I needed to wear the raincoat. There's a few other days where it sprinkled, and the group that I was with, the company that I was with, a couple of foreign interns that were there, we all liked the rain. We all came from really dry areas in America. We all liked the rain, and so whenever I would sprinkle, we usually didn't like bring out umbrellas and stuff like that. Some people didn't either, but some people also decided when it started sprinkling to bring out umbrellas. You know, we weren't getting soaked or anything. Our hair maybe got a tad bit wet at most. Like it's not like we were causing a disturbance or whatever by walking into a building sopping wet. But it was really funny because one time, I think one of the first times it was raining, we we're like, oh, it's just this little sprinkle. It's not even going to cool down at all. It's going to raise the humidity. It's going to feel hotter. And then some higher up divine being up there, whatever you believe in or choose not to believe in, Mother Nature or something, gravity, just decided, oh, you want it to rain? You want it to rain? Fine then. And at the snap of a finger, literally less than a second after we finished that sentence, it went from a light sprinkle to raining sideways. And it did that for about 30 seconds. And then suddenly, again at the snap of a finger, suddenly all the rain was gone, the sky was open, not a cloud in sight, and it was sunny. I don't know, and we still to this day like don't know what happened. Like, we don't know if gravity just decided, you know what? Buoyancy doesn't exist anymore. I'm just going to pull down the whole cloud. The entire cloud is just going to fall all at once. It's done. Get out of the sky. Or if it just... we don't know. We don't know what happened. But it was really funny. Because we're like, oh, it's not even... like, can we even call this rain? And... whoosh. But yeah, I was pretty much the only person with a raincoat. So it felt a little weird walking around sometimes. Because everyone would have umbrellas. And I'd be the one dude in a raincoat. I think that's about it, though. You know, I guess, do you have any questions? Like, I don't know. I don't know if I can answer much outside of personal experience, but I don't know. That's where I was for a month. I went to go and work and sightsee abroad. Mostly work. I spent most of my days working, but I made the best of the days that I didn't have to. And I had a ton of fun. Wasn't my first time out of the country, but it was definitely my first time like having to go actually overseas out of the country. I'd been to Hawaii before, but we don't count that as out of the country. It was really cool to be able to say that I've gone overseas and I've done work overseas, and I spent a month on, you know, basically almost completely independent. You know, of course, I still had to check in with people, you know, the company and that I was working with and stuff like that. But you know, for the most part, I was pretty independent. And lived there for a month, and 10 out of 10 experience. Absolutely amazing. Would go again if I had the opportunity. Of course, it's not something I can do every once in a while. You know, keep it simple and say it was not pocket change. It was not cheap. Not in the slightest sense. So doing an unpaid internship was a bit rough, but I went into it understanding that I accepted that and went into and specifically joined a company knowing I would be unpaid. Because that's what an internship is. It's just what it was. Yeah, it was a ton of fun. Met some really cool people. Got to do some really cool work in a field that makes me, you know, incredibly happy, and definitely reinforced, like, oh yeah, I chose the right path for my studies, and young me, you got excited about the right things, my guy. You a little like elementary school me chose the right stuff to look into. Because here I am today, and I got to go and work abroad, and what brought me here is a wide variety of things that, you know, I can't even comprehend. Really, really freaking cool. And I'm happy I got to do it. I'm happy I got to talk about it. And yeah, that's where I was for a month. Yeah. Well, I guess I'll wait a minute. I don't know who all's still here and who's not, but if anybody who's still here has, I guess, any questions about stuff I did abroad, what it was like abroad, I guess feel free to ask and I'll answer to the best of my ability. Again, I'm not I'm no expert. I was only there for a month, but I got to do a lot, so. Well, wait a minute, but I think besides that, that's just about everything I had to talk about in terms of the trip. There's some other stuff that I want to talk about, but we'll get there in a minute. You're here? Okay, thank you. I appreciate you sticking around. Well, I guess at the moment I'm not seeing anything, so I guess I'll move on to the... Oh, okay, here we go. Sorry. Most surprising or shocking part of being in a different country? Surprising or shocking part? I think one thing in particular was how clean everything was. Which sounds really weird. Think about like driving down the highway in America or something like that. You can, more often than not, you'll find litter on the roads. Walking down the sidewalk, you'll find litter. Stuff like that. I think it was very shocked. The internet is delaying messages. Yeah, I get you. That's why I wanted to wait a minute. And of course, I cut you off like right then and there. But it was very, very clean. I think they enforced their littering laws there a lot more than the US. And everything was clean. They had people who would sweep the streets, they had people who would go around, and it was their whole job to pick up any litter. Oh, stream's dying. I'll wait a second. Okay, OBS. We good? We good, OBS? Okay. In America, you'll find litter everywhere on the streets. I can't think of a single place that I've gone to that I didn't see a plastic bag stuck in a tree, or, you know, some fast food bag tossed out the window on the side of the road, and stuff like that. Like, it's just, people litter in America, and unfortunately, it's just, littering laws are not enforced, or they're not capable of being enforced, or stuff like that, so it happens. But there, littering laws are enforced, so there's that. But also they still have people who sweep the streets, pick up trash, stuff like that, and then search a whole job to do that. But what's also really interesting is that even though there's no littering, they don't have trash cans, like, anywhere. You can find them in buildings. Usually a building will have 1 or 2 trash cans. But in terms of, like, just out and about on the street, there's no, like, public trash can. So if you have trash, you just have to hold on to it. And you also have to sort all of your trash. And it's not just into plastics, metals, and general waste. It's You have general waste, food waste, specifically plastic bags, specifically plastic bottles, cardboard, metal, other plastics. Like, you really had to separate everything. And I don't know, I just found that system... I think that was probably the hardest thing for me to adapt to, and the hardest thing for me to just get used to. And it's not because I litter a ton or whatever, but stuff along the lines of not having a trash can nearby at all times. Having to sort your waste. Normally, it's just general... Normally, you know, I recycle here at my, you know, at my own home. But we just sort it into general waste and like recyclables, just as two general groups. But they wanted it more separated than that. And I think that one was a bit of a shock to me. I think the other shock in general is just the language barrier. I don't think it was too much of a surprise, but it was definitely a shock to the system. You know, wow, I'm in an area that doesn't speak English. You know, that it was a wake-up call, that's for sure. You get me? Yeah. So I don't think anything was... The trash thing wasn't a shock, it was more of a surprise. And the language barrier was less of a surprise. I knew it was coming, but it was still a shock to the system, I guess you can call it. Yeah. Yeah, thanks for the question. I appreciate it. Well, I guess if you have any other questions, feel free to put them in, but I think I'll move on to the other things I wanted to talk about. And that's games. And, like, future streaming stuff. So, right now, I have 2 games that I want to play. And of course, those were some of the games that I was talking about. If you follow me on Twitter, I made a little post about why does everything have to be released when I can't play it. And these 2 games were the big ones that I was talking about. There's a couple of other things, but I don't know how much I'm going to stream them or if I'm going to play them at all in general. But the 2 big things were Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. Pre-ordered it, and I was so hyped, and then I realized it was gonna release while I was in South Korea, so I was just gonna have to avoid spoilers like the plague. And unfortunately, I did get spoiled about one key event, and I'm so sad because I was avoiding everything else so well and so good. But oh well. With the exception of that one event, which I don't actually even know when it will appear in the story, I want to do a playthrough of it blind, live on stream. I loved the first Warriors game. It's actually one of the games that it's the first game that I played when I got a capture card for my Switch. Unfortunately, there's no archive of it because I was still starting off streaming. I'm still technically starting off streaming. I've only been streaming for a year, but excuse me. But I loved that game, and it was a ton of fun to play and replay. So I'm super excited to play this one because I did play Fire Emblem Three Houses, and I do have an archive of literally the final battle that we played of the Crimson Flower route. So I want to play through that, and I want to play through. The route. I cannot speak English. That's what I cannot do. I want to play through. So personally, I went through the routes in this order. I went through them Crimson Flower. I can't remember the names of the other ones, so I'm just going to say it by house instead. I did the Black Eagles route. I did the Golden Deer route. I did the Blue Lions route. And then I went back and did the super special secret 4th route, which I won't spoil what that's with. And then, of course, obviously, I went through and did the DLC. But I played through that in that order. And I want to go through those routes in 3 hopes in that order. So I'm definitely going to start off with whatever the Black Eagles route is for 3 hopes. From that point onwards, we'll see how long it is, we'll see what schedules are, stuff like that, and we'll see if I go through the other routes live on stream, or if it's just something I slowly work on off stream, or maybe it just becomes one of those games that I fall back on, similar to that of like Heat Signature, Dead Cells, other roguelites, stuff like that. Maybe it's just something that I fall back on like those. I will definitely be playing through at least the Black Eagles route blind on stream. I'm very excited to do that. I've been looking forward to that for a little while since it was announced. The next thing, the other game, is AI The Somnium Files, their Nirvana initiative. This game I played off stream. Well, the first game, just AI The Somnium Files, the first game in the series. I just played it off stream. I absolutely loved it. It was absolutely amazing. I got such a kick out of it. I've shared it with so many different people and told so many people to check out. Either get it themselves, but also check out other people's playthroughs, because I think everybody has a different experience with it. You know, the voice acting was amazing. The story was amazing. I like visual novels, and it was a wonderful take on a visual novel. I think you can call it a visual novel. I'm not sure if it's actually classified as one, but it was amazing. And I'm so happy that I think it's a sequel. Because one of the main character in this one is Mizuki, who is one of the main characters in the first game. But she's younger in the first game, and I don't know exactly how old. I don't remember. I think they announced how old she was going to be, but I don't remember. But she's going to be older in this one, and she's the main character in this one, as opposed to Kaname Date. So you're playing as a different character with a different story in the future. And I want to play that on stream. I do recall one specific thing about it. I don't remember exactly what it was. I would have to look up the specifics just to make sure. But due to delays in releasing the game around the world, and having content creation still be worldwide, there are restrictions on what we are allowed to show up until a certain date. I don't remember the exact thing. I wrote it down. I just don't have it on me ready to go right now. But there are restrictions. I remember it's something along the lines of don't go past this point in this route. I think it was like chapter 3 in route A and chapter 3 in route B. It said just don't go past those points for the sake of not spoiling anything for people who can't get access to the game yet. And then they said basically wait, I think it was about like another week after the game was officially released worldwide, to wait just another week before going past those points. But then after that, it's free game. And I'm going to respect that. I think it's a very reasonable request. I think I'm very happy that they care about their fans as well, and that they want to make sure that there's no spoilers and stuff like that. So I will be obeying those requests. As of course I have with all the other games I've been playing. I've been doing my best to obey all the requests and stuff like that. Fortunately, most of the stuff that I've been playing is Nintendo or indie, and Nintendo just flat out says, as long as you're playing a legally obtained, as long as you are playing it past the initial release date, like worldwide release date, you're cool to make content with it. And almost all the indie games have a thing that says, you know, you're allowed to make content of this, just be sure that you say the name of the game or whatever, which I do. I always be sure that I usually start on title screens and I say what we're playing whenever I start up stream and stuff like that. So, you know, I do my best to follow the requests of game devs because they put in a lot of hard work, and especially when it's a request like that, where it's like, hey, we don't want people to get spoiled. We humbly request that you go and don't play past this point if you're making content. Yeah, I can respect that. So, those are the two games that I want to play. Fire Emblem Three Hopes, Fire Emblem Warriors Three Hopes. I'm gonna say the full title because I don't know, brain says say full title. There's no actually particular reason. But Fire Emblem Warriors Three Hopes, I want to play that. How much we'll play, I know at least I'll get past one route. But past that, we'll see where it goes. And then I definitely want to play AI the Somnium Files and Nirvana Initiative because I absolutely love the first game. And I think there is definitely something to be said about a different experience playing it in front of an audience as opposed to just yourself. And I will be respecting that, so we'll see exactly how long it takes to get to those points, how often I play it, and then past the restriction gates and stuff like that, then I'll of course play onwards farther because there is not a singular doubt in my mind that this is going to be a good game. I am 100% confident that this game will make me laugh and I'll get attached to the characters and it'll be an amazing story and all that stuff. So I'm hyped for both of those games and I'm super excited that I get to play them here with the internet. You know, I think there's a bunch of other stuff that's come out. A game that I downloaded and actually tested out today. Hold on, let me get the names of the people who made it. I want to be sure that I respect them. Sorry, just gotta make sure that I get all the names. Do it all right. I know I found the people who made it somewhere, but I can't. Okay, I can't exactly find if there is a full team or not, but I know one of the main authors, main creators of the game, their name. I'm sorry, I went silent there for a minute. I apologize. But the creator of this game, it's called HoloCure. It's made by KU at Kinematic on Twitter. They make some really cool art, and this game was really cool. It's similar to that of like Vampire Survivors. That's what it reminds me of. It says it's inspired by a couple other games. You can find it on their Twitter. Yeah, it's really cool. I don't know if I'll play it. I feel like, I don't know, it says you're completely allowed to play it. Like, I read it, it says you're completely allowed to play it, but I don't know, I feel awkward. I'm not a Hololive member. As cool as that would be, I'm not a Hololive member. You know, and that's all the characters in the game and stuff like that. And yeah, that's really cool, and it came out you know, again, while I was still in South Korea, so, and I didn't have my my personal computer here with me, so I didn't get to play it, but I finally got to take a look at that, and that was really cool. Let's see, what else? I know there's a Xenoblade Chronicles 3 mini direct and stuff like that, so due to funky time zones, I had to watch that at an awkward time. But I am super freaking hyped, and I have been unsuccessful in getting a special edition 2 times now. Which is unfortunate, but you know, it is what it is. I'm still gonna go and obviously get the game. Like I said though, that one I won't be playing on stream. It's just, it's too personal of a game for me. I want to at least play through it once off stream, just due to like the attachment and the way that I play the game. Sorry, I'm fiddling with too many different things in my hands right now. If I keep looking down, it's because I'm messing with coins and fidget cubes and all that. I am all over the place. I've set everything down because it's like, here is all the stuff that, you know, like coins and stuff like that. Like, oh, it's green coins. I need to not do that. I'm getting distracted. But yeah, so there was that, and I'm super hyped for it. I'm very, very excited. Let's see. What else? I can't really think of what else. Oh yeah, I know Scarlet Nexus. The first game that I ever played blind on stream. That had its first anniversary. I haven't yet completed that second path. I got like halfway through it, and then they announced that they were doing a like ultra hard difficulty, and then I started over because I was like, yeah, I want to do the ultra hard difficulty and like do New Game Plus, but not reset, but like still reset my levels and items and stuff like that, and basically just have it say New Game Plus without actually any of the New Game Plus. But that was really cool. You know, good for them, because Scarlet Nexus is an absolutely beautiful game. Highly recommend you go and try it out. Unfortunately, again, I was still very, very new, more new than I am right now. But I was still very, very new to streaming and stuff like that there. So I don't have any archives of it, unfortunately, but I highly recommend you check it out. It's amazing. Let's see, what else happened while I was out? I don't really know. I can't think of much else. I know I specifically wanted to talk about Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes and add Somnium Files to Nirvana Initiative, because those are the 2 big games that I want to be playing up next. I think I can... Oh yeah, there's also 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim. Forgot. We finished the main story on one of my last days before leaving, but we didn't do any of the post-game. I looked on Sega's website for it. I didn't see anything restricting me from doing anything there. It was a little bit awkward because the credit song got copyrighted. So that was a little bit awkward. But I still haven't seen anything saying that I'm restricted from that, so. And I think I've seen content out there of it as well. So I think I'm okay to go on that. like I said, I was talking about, like I said earlier, I like to respect what the game devs have for wishes and stuff like that, because they put a lot of hard work into the game. So if they make a request saying not to make any content of it, or if they make a reasonable request, such as, you know, due to worldwide shipping, to avoid spoilers while we get the game everywhere, you know, I can do stuff like that. Yeah, so if it's a reasonable request, I'll try and follow it. But yeah, so those are the 3 big things that I have planned for the next little while. Of course, obviously, we'll still keep... I still want to keep doing heat signature stuff. I had a ton of fun doing that, and I haven't opened the game back up since we set the record, and I still want to know what my position is on that leaderboard. So I still got to check that out, and obviously I want to still keep setting new personal records and stuff like that for me. I love that game to death. It's an absolutely amazing game. Just other roguelikes in general, of course, those are always on the table. Who knows, maybe I'll speedrun Metroid Dread again if I feel like it. I still need to check out the boss rush on that game, actually. I haven't touched the boss rush. You know, but, you know, so there's plenty out there for me to do. You know, and there's always new stuff releasing. Obviously, we have Splatoon 3 that's coming out in a little while. I'm super hyped for that. That's a few months away, though, so that's not immediately on my radar. Let's see. I know Live Alive came out. I haven't really looked too much into it. I saw it in that one direct and was interested in it. That might be something I look into if I'm also looking for another game to play. I really love RPGs, but I understand that they also aren't for everyone, so I want to make sure that I have a bit of variety between stuff like the roguelikes and RPGs. I'm gonna have 13 Sentinels and AI the Somnium Files, the Nirvana Initiative, and Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. So I think for the moment 3 RPGs. That's probably alright. And then we can stick with other stuff such as the roguelites, or who knows, maybe I'll find something else that I can do. But yeah. So there's a lot of stuff that I've been excited to do once I get back, and well, I'm back, so I think for now, though, my voice is getting a wee bit tired. I've been talking a lot more, just talking non-stop, and I've been really excited, so I've been probably talking a lot louder and at a bit of a different pitch than I normally do and stuff like that, so. Go and drink some water and take a rest, and then get excited and maybe choose what I'm gonna do tomorrow, because like I said at the very start, it felt good pushing that go live button and opening everything up, even if my computer was really mad at me that I hadn't turned it on in 30 days, and it was like, oi, you need to update stuff, and I was like, I know. But yeah, it felt really good to go and push that go live button and turn on the microphone and all that. So that felt good. And yeah. So it's back to work on personal projects, back to streaming, back to spending some time with family. Yeah. I think for now, though, I think we shall wrap it up here. I appreciate everyone who stopped by to say hi. I appreciate everyone who stopped by and lurked. All that sort of stuff. I appreciate everyone who waited patiently while I was kind of just I just went radio silent for like a month. I didn't really announce it much, and I apologize for that. But yeah, I went abroad. I went to South Korea for an internship. I had a ton of fun, did some sightseeing. Like I said, I'll see if I can find what I can post without, you know, invading other people's privacy, doxing them, or doxing myself. I'll see what I can post, because there's some pretty cool stuff that I want to share. Yeah, so I'll see what I can do about that. Fun stuff planned for the future. Some fun games. Like I said, personal projects, some of which are related to the stream. I, of course, always want to continue improving on that. But yeah, I think for now, I think I covered just about everything. Talked about where I was. Talked about future well, the near future, like basically tomorrow, and you know, it's upcoming stuff. And that's pretty much what I want to talk about today. So yeah, I think I'll wrap it up here. I hope. Thank you all for coming out. I hope you all had a. Wow, I'm forgetting my own outro. If you enjoyed what you saw and you're new here, feel free to leave a follow. It means a lot if you do, and it's just a nice and easy way to say, hey, I like what you're doing, keep up the good work. Regardless of how you choose to show your support, though, it means a lot to me, and I greatly appreciate it. And I hope you all have a wonderful day, night, morning, evening, afternoon, whatever time it happens to be wherever you are. And I hope to see you all again later. Bye. I'm waving as if you can see me, but you can't see me. Bye-bye.